Hey everybody, Moto Alonso here. It is low and lean and stripped down, but is it just for beginners? I don't know. Let's take it for a ride and find out. We have an Indian Scout 60 ABS. Now this happens to be a 2021 model. There haven't been a whole lot of changes between the 21s and the 24s. I was checking the specs out and the specs are similar, but we'll hit the high points here and take a look at this bad boy. What do we have here? This is a 999 cc 60 degree liquid cooled V-twin from Indian. We have no cooling fins and we have a big radiator here. So liquid cooled bike. They call it the Scout 60 because I believe if you do the conversion, 999 cc's is 60 cubic inches. Indian Scout 60 instead of the Indian Scout 999. Really nice looking bike. It's low, very low, and we'll get into that. 25.7 inch seat height. So I mean, your butt is right over the cement there. At least it is for me, and the ergonomics are going to be different for everybody, but I'm 6'1" for reference. As we go for the ride, you'll see how that puts me in the rider position. This is called Blue Slate Smoke. I don't believe this color is available in 2024, but it sure is. That sure is a pretty color. I love it. Okay, we're kind of jumping around here, but let's start at the front and we'll work our way backwards. We got a 130 tire on the front. We have a single disc, 2-piston disc with ABS. This is an aftermarket windshield that somebody has added, so it doesn't look bad. I don't think that looks horrible. We talked about the engine just a little bit. About a 3.3 gallon gas tank. So we're not going to take long trips on this motorcycle, but that's not what it's intended for. This is for kind of just cruising around, hopping around, going here and there, maybe running a few short errands. We have twin shocks in the rear, adjustable rear disc, single piston disc in the back. These are Indian parts here. So we have the stock seat and an Indian solo luggage rack. It's kind of nice for taking your backpack and such. So yeah, this is a really stripped down motorcycle. It's supposed to be kind of the bobber style. You see the bobber front fender, see the bobbed rear fender. A competitor for when this bike was being manufactured in 21, this was a competitor for the Evo Sportsters, the Harley Evo Sportster, and now the Rev Max Nightsters, I believe they're called, Sportster Nightsters. I'm having a hard time keeping up with what Harley's doing with that Rev Max engine, but yeah, we'll talk about. This isn't a comparison video, but we'll make mention of the Sportster. I have some experience riding Sportsters and how they feel versus this motorcycle. I've never ridden one of these, so this will be kind of a first impression, just my opinions on what I'm feeling riding this thing. Should be interesting. Let's hop on it here, throw a leg over, and see what we have in terms of controls. Very simple. So starting on the left, we just have high beams, low beams, turn signal, horn. On the right, we have our start button, our kill switch and our start button. So yeah, there's not a lot to go through here. You have a trigger switch here, and that will control your trip meter, odometer, and some other information that you see here on the little LCD screen that's on the single speedometer there, right in the middle of the handlebars. Cool. So let's get geared up. Let's take this guy for a ride and see what we think about the riding position and the power, and yeah, should be fun. All right, here we go. Key goes in the ignition over here. Kind of an old school position there on the side of the bike. This model, or this motorcycle, has 5,000 miles on it. This is a trade-in at Dream Machines of Texas. Thanks to my friends for letting me take this motorcycle out. This should be fun. I was kind of being a little smart when I said I can't keep track of what Harley's doing with the Sportster S and the Nightster Special and the Nightster Standard Edition. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of that motorcycle. Those motorcycles, I've ridden them, and I don't know. They feel strange. Again, I'm trying not to get off topic here, but naturally, I'm going to make some comparisons between this motorcycle and the Sportster line, because they're very similar in terms of some of the specs and the liquid-cooled engines now. This has the type of ignition where you just give it a press, and she fires up. Sounds good. This motorcycle has an aftermarket pipes on it. So there's Vance & Hine pipes on this one. I mentioned the 25.7 inch seat height. I feel very, very low to the ground right now, which is good for your confidence. You know, it really is. I feel like I'm on the ground. I feel like my rear end is on the cement. We have forward controls here, and the handlebars are low, okay? So for me, this is going to put me into that folded taco shape. I mean, the folded taco shape looks pretty cool, right? But let's be real. For riding a long way, it's not very comfortable. And we're not riding a long way today, so it should be fine. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this feels. This motorcycle has ABS. I'm just going to take it around the parking lot here. Just get used to it. I think I mentioned 130 tire in the front, 150 tire in the rear. Sounds good. The weight on this motorcycle is about 540 pounds wet. So kind of a middleweight. 78-ish horsepower. 57-ish foot-pounds of torque at a higher RPM. That's all above about 5,500 RPM. Let's give it a whirl here. Oh, it sounds great. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This riding position is going to take some getting used to. Feels like a little tiny V-Rod. I like it. That's fun. Okay, I'll confess, when I was just sitting there on the bike, I didn't really like the seating position and the way my feet were really, feels to me, really far forward and I'm leaned over. But once you get moving, it's fun. It feels a lot more fun. Braking feels fine. Clutch pull is, I'd say, kind of like light to medium. Suspension. I think we've got about 3 inches of travel in the back and not much more than that in the front. So yeah, it's, you know, this is a bobber around town bike. Not a lot of suspension travel on this one. And the seat is very thin. railroad track test is okay. That's not a bad railroad track back there. Some of those potholes we hit were, those weren't great. It's smooth. It has, you twist the throttle, it's smooth, linear power. The shifting is very smooth. I like that about the motorcycle. So we got a loose mirror here, so that's just going to stay like that. And that one doesn't want to move. Okay. Sure, we could easily fix those things with a wrench. Not a problem. Because of where that windshield is positioned, I'm not getting any blast really on my chest too much, but it's essentially just coming right off the windshield into my neck and on my helmet. Guess it's helping a little bit. Yeah, I have ridden the Nightster, the Harley Nightster with the Rev Max, and I don't know, it's a lot different sound than this motor. I think I kind of like the grunt and the sound and the pull of this one a little more. I just didn't jive and couldn't connect with that Harley Sportster, Nightster. But I like this. I mean, this is fun. I just don't know that I could do this day in, day out. For me, just that's just me. I think if you're looking to, you want an American-made cruiser type motorcycle that looks great, it's got a grunty V-twin, and most of your riding is around town, you're not doing a lot on the highway, I think this could be right up your alley. I think because it's not a heavyweight bike either, it's 540 something pounds wet, and because of the very low seat height and the the torquey nature of the motor, it's kind of easy to ride so far, it feels. This would be a good beginner's bike, I think. I really do. It'd be a pretty good size, big beginner's bike, but I think a beginner could do it. Let's go on the highway here for just a second. They're 70 miles an hour at 3750 RPM. We're getting going actually 70. 3850. Okay, 70 miles an hour, 3850 RPM. So like the old Evo Sportsters, there's only 5 gears on this bike. No buzzing in my feet. I mean, the foot pegs are pretty solid. I'm getting some buzzing in the handlebars and on the grips, definitely. That exhaust is loud. Sounds good. It's pretty loud on the highway. Oh yeah. lot of power, good pull. It's fun. But you feel connected to the road, if you know what I mean. It's just, you know, it's just a low bike. That's part of the deal. You know, with the design of this motorcycle, when it's so low like this, you've got to have the pegs forward, because if they were mid controls, I mean, you couldn't turn it. You wouldn't be able to lean very far. And my knees would be up by my ears. Sounded kind of weird. Self-canceling signals. I always like that because I'm so absent-minded. Ask Mrs. Moto Alonso, she'll tell you. I can't remember, like 5 minutes ago. Oh, I felt that one. Oh gosh. So we just tested on the channel. Check it out, and if you want to see another ride review on a different kind of motorcycle. But we just tested a Triumph Bonneville T120, about the same weight as this bike, much different motorcycle, you know, different engine, just different type of bike, but same kind of weight. And that one seemed to absorb some of this type of roads way better than this bike. I think you can adjust the rear suspension, the damping on this bike, so maybe that would help too. Oh yeah. Sound of the wind, the sound of a V-twin. That never gets old, man. That never gets old. Easy to flat foot. It's nice at always nice at a stoplight. Just no drama, just flat foot. I know technically you're not supposed to do this, put 2 feet on the ground, but I know probably most of you do, right? I usually have my right foot on the ground. I think technically you're supposed to have your left foot on the ground, right? Because you're supposed to have your rear brake on at the stoplight, just in case somebody decided to do something dumb from behind you. At least that's what I've had some instructors tell me. I know everyone has different opinions on how you're supposed to be at a stoplight. This is actually a great real-world test for a bike suspension around here. It really is. It'll tell you, like, how is the motorcycle going to be to live with. It's not a bad place to do a test ride. Hey, you've got some trains. Planes, trains, and automobiles. Those aren't pillows. Getting used to seeing our Snap-on truck up here. They didn't do their Snap-on delivery on Tuesday. Our last pull here. Woohoo! fun bike. It is fun, but I will tell you, it reminds me a lot of the V-Rod. Just in terms of, it's like a 3/4 sized V-Rod. Just in terms of the seating position, the sound, you know, the liquid cooled V-twin. Definitely the same kind of vibes as a V-Rod, just in a smaller package. If you're not familiar, and I'm sure most of you are, but if you're not familiar with the V-Rod, it was a liquid-cooled V-twin that Harley made years ago. I think they stopped production in 14. Really cool bike, but you know, when the American manufacturers make the liquid-cooled bikes, I don't know, some people just turn up a nose. So there you go. Indian Scout 60 ABS. This is a 2021 model. Thanks to my friends at Dream Machines of Texas for letting me take this motorcycle out and test ride it. I had never ridden one of these before. It's a fun bike. Is it for me? I think I would pass on this one personally, just because I like riding a little further distances, and my type of riding, I like to be more comfortable, and that's the reason. You know, I had a V-Rod and I didn't have it very long because it was fun to just blast in straight lines, kind of like this bike. But after a while, for me, this is just me, it started to kind of beat me up. And as I stand here, there are parts of me right now that have fallen asleep, if you know what I mean. So I just went on a 20-minute test ride, and yeah, I got that going on right now. But hey, if you're in the market for a American-made V-twin, you want something cool, you want something that's got torque, this could be a consideration for you. You know, it's mid-weight, good power, a lot of fun, something to consider. All right, guys, if you like this kind of motorcycle content, please like and comment and subscribe to my channel. We're going to be doing a lot of test rides. Dream Machines of Texas, they have all kinds of bikes. There's a BMW GSA that they just sold, or GS that they just sold. So adventure bikes, baggers, cruisers. They even have sport bikes. They have all types of motorcycles, vintage, retro, and they ship nationwide. So this bike is available for sale now if somebody wants it. I think it'll be priced under $10,000 too. So it's a good price for something like this. Thanks for watching, guys. Keep it 2 down. Moto Alonso.